Good morning, church. Pastor Ben here again with your daily Devo. Thank you so much for joining us. We've been talking about the ABCs of leadership. And if you recall, I've said that everyone is a leader because leadership is about influence. And if you have influence in somebody's life, then you're a leader. So with the ABCs of leadership, we're up to D. Remember, A is assertive, not aggressive. B is bold prayers. C is consistency is your friend. And D is the dates on the calendar are closer than they appear. And a corollary to that is do it now. So often, especially in the business environment, we look around at our timelines and the things that we have to do and things we have to accomplish, and we think we have plenty of time. I'm launching the second part of a major project right now. The launch date is in September, and I'm down to having half a dozen or so parts that have not come in yet. It would be easy to just sit back and wait and say, well, I've got till September to get those in. So there's no hurry. Now, the dates on calendar are closer than they appear. Do it now. Get those in while you can. Because invariably, towards the time of the launch, we'll have so many things to do all at once. And all it takes is one thing to go wrong, and then the whole project just falls apart. The dates on calendar are closer than they appear. Jesus spoke up to this in many parables. There's one parable in particular where I remember that he talked about a man who had had a bumper crop harvest, and he had spent all his money on building bigger barns so he could store all his crop. And then the Spirit says to him, "You fool! Tonight your life is expected of you." Jesus, over and over and over again, talked about the importance of not waiting to invest in God's kingdom. Not thinking, oh, I've got plenty of time. No, you don't. If you've lived any time on this earth, you realize very quickly that the years roll by way more rapidly than you ever thought. Sometimes it's hard for us to gain that perspective. September 11th, 2001, one of the seminal dates in American history. It was over 20 years ago. And it was over 20 years ago from that Ronald Reagan was elected. And when I look back on that, I think Reagan was president just a few years ago. But he wasn't. It was 40 years ago that Reagan was elected president. Crazy how fast the time goes by. You don't have time. Time is a commodity that slips by us so quickly, and yet it's such a gift from God. So I really encourage you today to realize that the dates on the calendar are closer than you think, that there's no time for wasting. That's a resource that's been given by God to us for our use. And for us to waste it on any activity is a shame. And we should always be striving to redeem the time we have. One of the things I've often preached about is someone who says they can never find time to read their Bible, and yet they sit in a car for a half hour to an hour a day on a commute to work. And right there is available time for listening to their Bible. And one of the things I've often said is that when you get to heaven, you don't want God looking at you and saying, I didn't put you in a car for a half hour a day so you could listen to Bob and Tom. You could have been studying your Bible. You could have been learning about me. You could have been improving your spiritual life. Don't tell me you didn't have the time. Of course you had the time. You chose to use the time for something else. And that's really what it comes down to in this area of our lives. We'll either do it or we won't. But I encourage you to remember D for dates on calendar are closer than they appear. Do it now. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you, and keep being the church.